Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another video, and this is part 5 to What If Naruto was a Full Uzumaki. We're gonna get started right where we left off. When everyone was ready to go to the Tenshi Bridge to get Sasuke. Uh, by everyone I'm talking about Sakura, Kakashi, and Sai. Yeah. So, of course, first before that happens, Sakura and Yamato joins the team because he has wood release and he can mimic Sasori's puppet shell, and he would be like useful for the mission. So of course, Tsunade appoints Yamato to become part of the team, and they all go to the designated location at the right time. So uh, over here things happen like similar to canon, except Kakashi comes along, and Naruto isn't there, of course. Uh, the interaction still goes the same way, like at least at first. So Sasori, uh, who who Yamato's disguised as, first walks up to the bridge to meet Kabuto. They do a little chit chat, and then Orochimaru appears, and Sasori and Kabuto thinks that when Sasori pulls a knife out, like a kunai out, he's trying to protect Kabuto, but then he was actually trying to kill him. But then, anyways, the interactions will happen the same from there. But then when Kabuto sliced the shell, uh, Yamato made the signal, and all three of the people came out, like Sai, Sakura, and Kakashi, and of course, Sai still had his same mission, and Orochimaru and Kabuto could take on Yamato and Kakashi, and come on, guys, Yamato's would tell like it really isn't that strong, and uh, he was easily taken by Kabuto. That's not. He doesn't really have much talent other than his wood style. So, anyways, and also a genius like Orochimaru would easily find a way around it. So, of course, Yamato and Kakashi knew that they were at a disadvantage, but they still tried to fight. And then, since Orochimaru was in a weakening body, um, he couldn't fight to his full potential, so Kakashi was gaining on him while Yamato was beating Kabuto. So they both decided to take their leave, and of course, Sai followed them, and then Yamato told Sakura and Kakashi that he placed a seed in Sai, and uh, Yamato knew where Sai's location was, as he could track him using the seed that he inserted into him. I made that sound wrong on purpose, guys. Don't blame me for it. Anyways, Yamato, Kakashi, and Sakura followed behind Sai, and of course they reached the hideout, and they infiltrated. So over here the same thing happens. They still run into Sai, who's about to kill Sasuke, and Sasuke does the thing where he like explode where he destroys the hideout, and he stands on top of the cliff, and Sai stares at him, and Sakura, Kakashi, and Yamato come along afterwards. And then Sasuke still has this tremendous display of power, and he, he basically does the same thing to Kakashi as he does to Naruto, but then Kakashi is more on its guard, so he quickly substitutes himself when Sasuke is about to tap his shoulder. So Sasuke is like, haven't been slacking off, I see, Kakashi. and Kakashi's like, neither have you, my wayward student. And Sasuke just scowled at Kakashi, and he still did that same thing that Chidori Nagashi to Sakura and Yamato, and sorry, Sakura and Sai. And when Yamato tried to block Sasuke's sword, Sasuke was like, "That's the wrong way to block my sword," and he, gave that small stab to Yamato, and he with the lightning sword, and afterwards he was like, "I'll end you all in one move," and he raised his arm up, and lightning began to crackle in the sky when when a hooded figure came and caught his arm. So um, Sasuke was like, "Who are you?" Turning to Naruto, who was the hooded figure, and Naruto just removed his hood, and he was like, "I'm upset you didn't recognize me, old friend." And Sasuke looked at Naruto with absolute horror, and he started screaming, and he was like, "How are you here? You're dead!" And Naruto was like, "I'm not the easiest person to kill, Sasuke." And Sasuke was like, "But how are you alive? Even if that didn't damage your internal organs too much, the blood loss, how didn't you die?" And Naruto just waved him off, and he was like, "Well, that's a story for another time, Sasuke. Why were you trying to kill uh, our team members?" And Sasuke was like, "Well, I didn't want them to get in my way." And Naruto was like, "Well, killing them is kind of overboard, don't you think?" And Sasuke just like scratched his head, and basically Sakura, Sai, and Kakashi were watching in complete amazement of and like seeing what was happening. First of all, Naruto was alive, which which they thought he was dead, uh, he wasn't even there in the Valley of the End, and they saw a bunch of blood stains on the ground, which they thought was Naruto. And they confirmed it was Naruto after doing some DNA tests, and they concluded that Naruto was dead. So of course, they're absolutely dumbfounded at what was happening, and now we're going to do a little flashback, guys, on what happened, like when they presumed Naruto to be dead. So after Karine carried Naruto away, Kakashi went to the spot where Naruto and Sasuke were fighting, and he just saw a bunch of blood on the ground, and he just took a sample and he brought it back to Konoha, and it was Naruto's. So Kakashi thought he was dead, and he and Jiraiya did their did a lot of tracking to try to find his body, but they came with no results because first of all they couldn't feel his chakra because his chakra signature was blocked by the cave which he was in for the 2.5 years, and also by lucky coincidence, when Naruto was outside the cave, they weren't trying to track him. So it was just by dumb luck that Naruto wasn't discovered. So yeah. Anyways, Kakashi reported back to Tsunade saying that Naruto is dead, and Tsunade absolutely broke down in tears because she loved Naruto like a grandson, and she was absolutely devastated that Naruto. This happened to Naruto, and she kept beating herself up for sending Naruto on such a dangerous mission, which she thought he could handle, but for some reason he couldn't. And then when they noticed that Karine was missing as well, um, They tried to find her, but they couldn't locate her at all. So they just assumed that Orochimaru kidnapped her or something. And since Orochimaru couldn't really be tracked very well by Konoha, um, th- they just never found Karine, or uh, they thought they would never find her pretty much, because it's impossible to find Orochimaru. So of course, they're devastated on losing their strongest shinobi, and of course, yeah, Naruto and Karin are the strongest shinobi of Konoha, and they're both even stronger than like Tsunade, Kakashi, Jiraiya, all those people, because of two words: sealing jutsu. So yeah, Karin was kind of on the same level as Naruto when they left, and she was still on the same level as Naruto after the time skip. And the only place where Naruto had her beat was his ninjutsu, his superior speed, and his superior strength, plus the massive reserves of QB chakra. So yeah, that was a pretty big advantage. But then, um, sometimes if Karin sealed him when he didn't expect it, like she would win a spar. Like sealing jutsu is pretty unpredictable. So, anyways, um, they just live their lives continuing to think that Naruto's dead, and even the Akatsuki thinks that Naruto's dead. I mean, until they sense the nine tails chakra when he goes out of the cave, then they find out that he's actually alive, and that actually kind of put them through a bit of a roller coaster, because they thought that their entire plan was for nothing now. And then when they finally sensed Naruto's QB, they all like were sighing in relief. So yeah, and that's it for the flashback, guys. Now we go back to the to when Naruto's meeting Sasuke. So Naruto and Sasuke kind of catch up, and Naruto's like, "So are you going to go back to Konoha anytime soon?" And Sasuke is like, "No, Naruto, I have a bit of unfinished business." And how do you get here anyways? Where Orochimaru and Kabuto? And Naruto was like, easy, I killed them. Uh, and the unfinished business you have is killing Itachi. Am I wrong? And Sasuke is like, yes, Naruto, and please don't try to stop me. And Naruto is like, I'm not going to try to stop you, Sasuke. And Sasuke was like, "Thank you, Naruto," and Naruto just left, and Sakura, Sai, Kakashi, and Yamato looked surprised, and Sakura was the first to break out, and she was like, "Naruto, come back to the village." And Naruto was like, "I'm sorry, Sakura. I also have some unfinished business to do." So Sakura knew that Naruto was strong just by the presence that was radiating out of him, and she knew that Naruto was probably the strongest person in the world. Uh, and she even saw a name in the bingo book that looked like the Naruto in his hooded uniform, and the name was Crimson Reaper, and this was because whenever Naruto would use Flying Raijin, the chakra emitted would be red, because Naruto has naturally red chakra, and then like there's no enemy of his that ever won against him or ever forced him to actually try. And whenever the person was like really evil, Naruto wouldn't hesitate to kill them person. So and Naruto had many deaths on his hands. um, so of course the bingo book entry was Crimson Reaper, and she saw that he was a double S rank, and he was the first person she saw who had a double S rank, and that really like gave her the chills. So yeah, she didn't try going after Naruto, and Kakashi, Sai, and Yamato also knew the bingo book entry, so they realized they knew it would be futile trying to chase after Naruto. So of course, Sakura and her team report what happened to Tsunade, and Tsunade is absolutely like really happy that Naruto's alive, and she's just disappointed that he didn't come to relief. But she thought that he'd have his own reasons and he'd explain once he gets back. As Sakura told her that Naruto didn't really seem to have much hostility to the village. So Tsunade knew, or at least she hoped, that Naruto would come back and she'd be able to she'd be able to like spend time with him again. So now we move on to Naruto and the rest of the Uzumakis that he found, and he also found a few no-name Uzumakis. I'm not going to come up with their names or anything, but then he has found a few scattered all over the world, and yeah. So I'm not really going to care about their names, but then they're just going to be like part of his clan. So Naruto has uh, about like 15 members, including the people who he found in the cave. His great grandfather, his grandfather, and his aunt. So yeah, Naruto went up to Sasori, and he was like, Sasori, right now you're supposed to be extracting the One Tails, right? And Sasori was like, yeah, according to the schedule, I was supposed to. And I'm actually receiving signals from the other Akatsuki members in my ring right now. Uh, why would you like to know? And Naruto was like, I'd like to meet them. And Sasori was like, sure, be my guest. And he tossed his ring to Naruto. Naruto wore it and he responded to the signals. And his eyes opened to see all the Akatsuki members standing there. And he was standing on one of the fingers of the Gedo statue. And he looked around and he was like, nice place you all got here. And uh, Kakuzu was like, why are you here, brat? Where's Sasori? And Naruto was like, well, I guess you could say I killed him. And Nagato's like, do not lie, Uzumaki. I feel Sasori's chakra signature, and he's very much alive. Naruto was like, oh, I wasn't talking about killed him in that sense. I was talking about me killing the Sasori that he knew as the member of your Akatsuki. And everyone was like, oh, great, another poet. And Nagato's like, bring Sasori back here at once. And Naruto's like, ah, Pain, I would like to have a conversation with you, alone. And Nagato rose an eyebrow and he was like, I agree, as long as we're only astral projections. And Naruto nodded, and Nagato dismissed everyone except Conan. And Naruto raised an eyebrow expectantly, looking at Conan. And Nagato was like, she gets to hear what I get to hear. And Naruto's like, hmm, I didn't imagine that the leader of the Akatsuki would have a lover. He just thought that in his head, and he was like, so we meet at long last, Nagato Uzumaki. And Nagato was like, you know my name? And Naruto's like, of course, why would I not know my uncle's name? And Nagato was like, uncle, what do you mean? And Naruto was like, I'm your little sister's son, Nagato. Nagato was like, little sister, you mean Kushina? Kushina had a son? And Naruto's like, why else do you think I'm named Uzumaki, Nagato? And Nagato was like, I just assumed that you were one of the survivor sons. And Naruto was like, anyways, what happened to you? Why are you in the Akatsuki? And Nagato basically told his entire story about Yahiko and all of that, his parents. And Naruto, he shook his head and he was like, I understand that they were your parents and Yahiko is your friend, but don't you think that this is a bit too extreme? And Nagato was like, this world shall know pain, and I will create peace in this world through pain. Pain creates a common understanding. And Naruto was like, what is the point of peace where everyone knows pain and everyone is scared? Can you really call that true peace? Your plan is to create the ten tails, is it not? Would you like sleeping each night worrying about when a nuclear bomb is going to explode under you? Nagato was like, I don't understand. And Naruto was like, the ten tails is a weapon of mass destruction. One swoop of one of its tails can flatten an entire mountain range. With something like that lumbering around, do you think people would be able to really feel at peace, even if they are at peace? And Nagato just pondered and he was like, it doesn't matter. A small price to pay for Shinobi not having to die in battle. Naruto was like, Shinobi will die for you to experience this dream anyways, Nagato. It's not like everyone is going to run along and be happy with what you're trying to do. Your actions might create another Shinobi war. And Nagato was like, that doesn't matter as long as all the nations know pain and I can create peace. It'll be all right. Naruto was like, Nagato, the reason you took this path was because of the death of your friend, was it not? And Nagato nodded, and Naruto was like, don't you realize that people will die no matter what way you choose, no matter what path you choose? Whether you want peace through understanding or whether you want peace through pain, there will always be an opposition. I know, Nagato, that deep in your heart, you want a world filled with understanding where people can roam freely and no one has to go through what you went through. While Katsuki is still in action, Nagato, I can promise you that each of its members will start dropping like flies with my team on the group. My team in action. Why can't you man up and cut your losses and go back to the right path? Your resolve has to be strong. If you can't believe in yourself, at least place belief in me, your nephew. Nagato gave a bit of thought to Naruto's words, and he was like, "Alright, Naruto, I'll give you a chance. I'm giving you the location of where my real body is. I'd like to give you something." And Naruto nodded and he went to where Nagato said his location was. And Conan was like, Nagato, you can't seriously be considering this. And Nagato was like, it's alright, Conan. That boy is right. And Conan was like, but you can't give him your Rinnegan. That's a weapon of Amegakure. And Nagato was like, you refer to my ability as a weapon, Conan. And Conan was like, no, I didn't mean it like that, but the Rinnegan belongs to Amegakure. It belongs to you, Nagato. And Nagato was like, I believe that Naruto will have better use for them. And after a while, Naruto walked in and he was like, nice to meet you, Uncle Nagato. You look pretty beaten up. I guess that's what it looks like when you're in pain. And Conan was like, you're making fun of him, aren't you? And Naruto just chuckled, and so did Nagato. And he was like, well, I guess my selection of the word pain as my moniker was pretty suggestive of my condition, don't you think? And Naruto was like, I don't like seeing you like this, Uncle Nagato. Nagato was like, anyways, I won't live for that long. I'm giving you my Rinnegan, Naruto. And Naruto was like, what? No, I have a way. I have a way to heal you. And Nagato's eyes widened and he was like, what? And Naruto was like, summon the Gedo statue. Nagato did as he was told, and Naruto carefully removed all the rods from inside Nagato, and he placed one hand on the Gedo statue and the other hand on Nagato, and he was like, Sealing Jutsu, Chakra Transfer. And the sheer chakra output of the Gedo statue was so immense that a line of blood came from Naruto's nose as he focused, and Naruto slowly grew exhausted because of chakra exhaustion. But then Nagato quickly got healed, and finally Naruto released him and the Gedo statue. And the Gedo statue was more shriveled up than usual, especially because there weren't any tail beasts in it. So yeah, and Naruto looked at Nagato, and he just let out a whistle, and he was like, "Well, you're not so bad when you don't you're not in pain." And Nagato just let out a chuckle, and Naruto was like, "Well, come on, uncle, don't you want to come with me?" And Nagato was like, "Sure, can Conan come too?" And Naruto was like, "As long as she's loyal to you, to us, Nagato." And Conan was like, "Don't worry, Naruto. I can't help but understand that your words are right. That your words to Nagato were right." And Naruto just smiled at her, and he was like, "All right then, let's go meet back up with the group." And they all went back, and they got acquainted with the group. And then Obito and Zetsu were spying from nearby, because and Obito was like, "That Nagato, I'll kill him." How are we supposed to continue the Akatsuki organization now? And Black Zetsu was like, "Don't worry, I'll catch him and I'll make him revive Madara." And Obito was like, "What about the Geto statue? How will we find the Geto statue?" And Zetsu was like, "Don't worry, Obito. I placed a contract seal on the Geto statue, and it connects the Geto statue to your chakra, so you'll be able to summon it from now on." And Obito just smiled, and he was like, "Alright, Nagato has gone wayward, but I'll show him his place." And yeah, he went back to assemble the Akatsuki, and he told them everything that was transpiring, and they didn't really like it one bit. And a few of them were actually pretty miffed, seeing that two of the strongest members had gone. And Itachi was like, what happened to Pain and Conan?" He was just thinking, and Itachi was like, "Meh, now that they left, there's not really much point spying on the Akatsuki. Obito and Zetsu are, sorry, Madara and Zetsu are still quite suspicious, but my time has run out." And he basically got out to message Sasuke, and as he went out to the old Uchiha clan compound, uh, when he sat in his little throne there, um, he was surprised as a kunai was held to his throat, and he was like, I didn't even sense him." And he was like, "Who's there?" And a red-haired boy turned around to look at him, and Itachi was like, "Naruto?" And Naruto was like, "Well, Itachi, we meet at last." Itachi was like, "What are you doing here? I'm in the Akatsuki. We can capture you." And Naruto was like, I'm sure that you guys can't really capture me. However, I noticed something little suspicious about." Uh, and Naruto was like, "Long time no see, Itachi." And Itachi was like, "Please, Naruto, let Sasuke kill me. I deserve it for what I did to the clan." And Naruto was like, "Well, you were just under orders, were you not, Itachi?" Itachi nodded, and Naruto was like, "Then how dare you waste your life by saying that Sasuke should kill you, and you deserve it to atone for your supposed sins?" And Itachi just scowled at Naruto and he was like, Naruto, I'm serious. What's going on between me and my brother? It's only my business and my brother's. Stay out of this. And Naruto's like, really? So you don't want to see a future where you can be with your brother as he grows up and he gets a family, and you can maintain your brotherly relationship, or at least regain it. And Itachi's eyes widened, and he was like, "How?" And Naruto's like, "Well, I guess she will take care of it." And he turned around, and Itachi also looked where Naruto was looking, and he saw a girl with glasses, and she had red hair. And Itachi was like, "So I believe you are Karine?" And Karine was like, "The one and only." And Itachi only knows Karine because he knows about the log of Shinobi in Konoha. Like, he basically memorized it, and Karine was pretty powerful, so she wasn't really hard to miss. So, yeah. And Itachi was like, "No offense, Naruto, but how is she gonna help?" Naruto was like, "Her medical ninjutsu second to none. She's even better. She's even better than Tsunade." And Itachi was like, his eyes absolutely widened, and he was like, "What do you mean?" And Naruto was like, "She has the most prodigious skill in medical ninjutsu that I've ever seen, that has ever been seen throughout this world." And Itachi was like, "So she can heal me?" And Naruto was like, "Yes, Itachi, your disease will go away now." So Karin basically healed Itachi, and after a few days, Itachi got up and he was like, "I feel, I feel amazing, like I was never sick." And Naruto was like, "Well, that's the magic of Karin's treatment." And Itachi bowed to Karine and thanked her, and Karine just waved his gratitude off, and she was like, "It's okay, Itachi, you deserve it for everything you have done for the village." Itachi just smiled, and he sent a letter to Sasuke. Like, he basically just sent his crow to give the message, and so Sasuke obviously accepted, the request that Itachi sent to come and meet him, because he wanted to take care of Itachi as soon as possible. But then the words that Naruto told him kind of put a little bug of doubt in his brain, which kind of wormed its way throughout his brain. So. Um, Sasuke was kind of doubting whether he should really kill Itachi, but then he once again gathered his resolve and decided that no matter what reason it was, Itachi deserves to die. But at least he would hear him out and get the real reason why he killed his clan before Sasuke finishes him off. So this is what Sasuke decided, and with this resolve, he made his way to the old Uchiha compound where Itachi was waiting. And when he reached there, by the way, guys, he still did assemble Team Taka, and they were getting stalled by Kisame, and uh, yeah, so that doesn't change. So Sasuke goes to the hideout, and he sees Itachi waiting for him on the throne there, and Sasuke is like, "Well, my brother, I finally have the same eyes that you do." And Itachi was like, "Hmm." And Sasuke uh, uh, put chakra into his eyes, and he transformed it into the Mangekyo Sharingan. And of course, Itachi was shocked, and he was like, "Sasuke, how did you get those?" And Sasuke was like, "Why all the concern now, Itachi? Didn't you tell me that I was supposed to kill my best friend?" And Itachi never knew that Sasuke would actually take him that seriously. So he was like, "So you really did that?" And Sasuke was like, and he kind of explained what happened to Itachi, and Itachi was completely shocked, and he um, he really realized that Naruto was really reckless at this point, and Sasuke also figured out that that's the weakness of the Uzumaki clan. They're way too reckless, and anyways, uh, Itachi was like, "All right then, so uh, should we settle this now?" And Sasuke was like, "Yes, but first, I'd like to know why you did it." And Itachi sighed and he was like, "Why the curiosity over such a thing?" The same thing he says in anime. And Sasuke was like, "I would like to know before killing you, so that I would at least know if it was an honorable cause." And Itachi was like, "So even if it was honorable, you'd still kill me anyways, right?" And Sasuke was like, "Of course. No matter what reason you did it for, you still deserve to die for killing our family." And Itachi was like, "Then how does it change? How does the outcome change whether I tell you why I did it or not?" And Sasuke just told him to tell him, and Itachi just sighed and told him everything. And Sasuke's eyes widened as he never knew that the cause could be so, um, you know, complicated. Like Itachi's choice was like really um, complicated and a difficult choice to make. And Sasuke really respected what Itachi did for the safety of the village. And he realized that if he was in Itachi's position, he might have done what Itachi did. And he realized that it wasn't worth killing Itachi. And since Itachi was good, and he actually tried to protect Sasuke, and you know, he was actually um, he actually cared about Sasuke the entire time. It's not worth fighting him and losing his last family member. So Sasuke was like, "All right then, Itachi. I guess you proved me wrong." And Itachi smirked and he was like, "How so?" Like, even though he knew how, he just wanted to hear it from Sasuke. So Sasuke was like, "Well, I thought that no matter what you did, no matter what the reason was for you killing our family, I thought that I would not be able to forgive you for it, and I thought that I'd feel like killing you. However, you did a very noble thing, Itachi." And Itachi just smiled, and he was like, "So, what's your verdict?" And Sasuke was like, "I'm not going to kill you." And he threw his sword aside, and he deactivated his Mangekyo Sharingan, and he was like, "I've come to take you back to Konoha." And at this point, Naruto and Karine, who were both waiting there, came out of the shadows, and Sasuke was like, "Naruto, Karine, what are you guys doing here?" And Naruto was like, "Well, who do you think healed your brother? He was going to die, you know that?" And Sasuke was like, "What do you mean?" And Naruto was like, "Why do you think your brother would go out of his way to have you kill him when he could try to preserve his relationship with you and live a long life uh, and preserve his bond with you?" And Sasuke was like, "So he was sick and he wanted me to finish him off, and so that he doesn't suffer." And Naruto was like, "Yeah, that's true. But then Karin here, she healed him, and now Itachi is in good shape again, and he's ready to go back to Konoha." And Sasuke was like, "All right then, and I'll also come back to Konoha with him. But then I want you and Karin to come back as well." And Naruto was like, "What do you mean? Why?" And Sasuke was like, We both have been missing for quite a while, don't you think? And Naruto was like, well, you're right, but then I have a mission to do. And Sasuke was like, come back to Konoha. I'm pretty sure Lady Hokage would hear you out. And Naruto was like, I suppose it doesn't hurt to give it a shot. And Sasuke was like, on our way back, why don't you tell me all about your mission? And Naruto was like, first I'd like you to see this. And he gave out a sharp whistle, and all the Uzumakis that he found, they all body flickered straight to where he was. And Naruto was like, Sasuke, meet the Uzumaki clan. And Sasuke was like, your clan, you finally found the members, you finally found some members. And Naruto was like, yes, I've been on a mission to collect, to search for all the Uzumakis who have been scattered around after the destruction of the Whirlpool village. And uh, Sasuke was like, so you've already found these many? And Naruto was like, Sasuke, I don't believe that all your clan members died as well. I believe that a few might be still alive, because uh, um, I'm sure that some Uchihas were civilians and they might have gone to other villages. And also, who's to say that there weren't any Uchihas on missions during the time of the massacre? And Sasuke was like, I never considered that. And Naruto was like, maybe you should also try finding your own clan members. And Sasuke was like, how about we do it together? And Naruto raised an eyebrow, and Sasuke was like, uh, how about we both go find other remaining members of our clans? And Naruto was like, oh, that's an excellent idea, Sasuke. Maybe you should run it by Lady Hokage first. And Sasuke was like, alright then, let's go. And Naruto was like, alright then. And they both went back to the Leaf Village. I'm not going to do any more stupid dialogue. And so um, when they reached back to the Leaf Village, they kind of decided to get past the guards. And Naruto took all of the clan members he found with him, and they body flickered straight to the Hokage Tower without being detected. And they went straight into Tsunade's office. And uh, she was sitting over some paperwork. And Naruto went right next to her, and he was like, "Did you miss me, Grandma Tsunade?" And Tsunade turned around, and she was about to punch him. And Naruto just dodged. And she was like, "Who are you? How dare you impersonate my my little Naruto-kun?" And Tsunade really cares about Naruto, so she calls him that. So uh, and Naruto was like, "Relax, Grandma Tsunade, it's me." And Tsunade was like, "Where were you all this time?" Only a week ago, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sai all reported that they found you, but before they could say anything, you left. And Naruto was like, well, as you can see, Grandma Tsunade, I had some business to take care of. And he pointed towards the Uzumaki clan members he found. And Tsunade was like, Are they?" And Naruto was like, "Yes, Grandma Tsunade, they are. They're members of my clan who have been scattered all over the place." And Tsunade saw Karine among them, and she was like, "And you, young lady, what have you been doing the past 2.5 years?" And Karine just sheepishly rubbed the back of her head, and like scratched the back of her head, and she was like, "Well, I was training with Naruto." And Tsunade was like, "Where have you been?" And Naruto was like, "Grandma Tsunade, could you first send all of the Anbus you have in your room outside and activate the privacy seals?" and Tsunade waved off the Anbu and activated the seals, and Naruto flashed at two locations in Tsunade's office, and he caught two root members, and he basically put each of their heads in his palm and crushed them, and he was like, looks like we have some spies in our midst. And Tsunade was like, that stupid Danzo and his root. But I think killing them was a bit extreme, don't you think? And Naruto was, well, the root is only, is completely unnecessary for our village, and it's doing more harm than good. And Tsunade raised an eyebrow as though waiting for an explanation, and Naruto was like, well, there's only one thing that proves as an instance where the root was completely useless, and it proves that the root does not have Konoha's best interests at heart. And Tsunade was like, what's that? And Naruto was like, where was Root during the Sand and Sounds invasion? And Tsunade was like, I think we should talk about this with Lord Third. And Naruto was like, of course, he was the one who was Hokage during the invasion. And Tsunade nodded, and she summoned Hiruzen, and Naruto basically discussed his points about Root, and Hiruzen just nodded, and he was like, I thought I disbanded Root. And Naruto was like, you should try to enforce the rules you come up with, old man. And Hiruzen just sighed, and he was like, I'm too old for this shit. And then he was like, all right then, Tsunade, would you please assemble a team who can take care of Root? And Tsunade was like, take care meaning assassinate everyone, right? And Hiruzen was like, yes, but for the members who are still in training, just bring them back and imprison them. Have the intelligence and torture unit talk to them later. Only kill Danzo and his closest subordinates. And Tsunade nodded, and she was like, alright then, Naruto, I have a new mission for you. And by the way, Sasuke, what have you been doing these 3 years? These 2.5 years? And Sasuke explained everything, and Tsunade got pretty angry when, at both Naruto and Sasuke when they told her about the incident at the Valley of the End, and she both smashed their heads together, and so she smashed both of their heads together, and uh, Naruto's like, Grandma Tsunade, what is that for? And Tsunade was like, that's for you being so reckless, and Sasuke, that's for you for trying to pull something like the Chidori on your closest friend. And Sasuke just hung his head in shame, and he was like, well, Lady Hokage, if I may, I've changed my ways, and I've brought Itachi back home. And he basically told Itachi to show himself, because Itachi was hiding himself with the Genjutsu, and this was to make sure that Anbus and all those people don't interfere. So basically, Itachi uh, was like, "Hello, ladies, Hokage," and Tsunade was like, what are you doing here, Nakatsuki member Sasuke? What's the meaning of this? And Sasuke is like, the meaning of this is that Itachi was a spy for our village all along. And Hiruzen looked at Tsunade, and he was like, it's true. And Hiruzen explained everything about Tsunade to, you know, uh, about Itachi to Tsunade, and he was like, Itachi has been a hero of our village all this time. And Tsunade was like, and why do you see it fit for me to fit to hide this from me until now? And Hiruzen was like, well, to be honest, that's a closely guarded secret only among me, Danzo, and the elders. And Tsunade was like, I'm the Hokage, for God's sake. Why didn't you see it fit to report this to me? And Hiruzen basically apologized, and he was like, anyways, what's important is that Itachi is back in the village now, and so is Sasuke. And he looked pointedly at Sasuke, and he was like, I hope you have no ideas of any funny business leaving again, do you? And Sasuke was like, don't worry, Lord Third, I'm here to stay from now on. I promise, I swear loyalty to this village from now on. And Hiruzen looked satisfied, and he was like, all right then, I called for a team of 5. And Tsunade was like, I thought I was the one making decisions here. And Hiruzen was like, sorry Tsunade, go ahead. And Tsunade was like, well, as Lord Third said, I call for a team of 5, including Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, uh, Karine, and Nagato. And by the way, Naruto introduced his clan members to Tsunade and their backgrounds and all that stuff. So Tsunade knew about Nagato, and she knew his Rinnegan would be useful in this mission. So yeah, and she was like, alright, you 5, your mission is to exterminate Root. And Naruto was like, so are there any clues regarding Root's location or how many members it has or anything like that? And Tsunade and Hiruzen both dug out the files, and they gave Naruto and group as many files as possible. And basically they all read everything in the files. And Tsunade was like, alright, you all, this mission is to start tomorrow morning because I have something planned for all of you today. And Naruto and Sasuke were like, what is it? And Tsunade was like, well, it's to see how strong you've gotten, of course. And she called Jiraiya, who was sitting on the windowsill. And Jiraiya came in and he hugged Naruto, and he was like, you brat, don't ever do that to me again. And Naruto just scratched his head and he was like, sorry about that. And Tsunade basically explained what happened to Jiraiya. And anyways, um, like while she was explaining, Kakashi also came to the office, and he was like, you called for me, Lady Hokage. And he completely fainted when he saw Naruto and Sasuke and everyone else there. And after he came to, Tsunade and Jiraiya explained everything to him, along with Naruto and Sasuke. Um, and even some of the Uzumaki clan members, they basically told Kakashi everything that happened. And basically, Tsunade was like, alright then, if you're done catching up, I'd like to see how far you have gone. And Naruto raised an eyebrow, and Tsunade was like, in terms of how powerful you are. And Naruto nodded, and he was like, so what's the plan? And Tsunade was like, well, you 3 are going to go up against me, Kakashi, and Jiraiya. And Naruto was like, well, it's pretty much like going against the 3 Sanin. Kakashi is a Sanin level ninja. And Tsunade was like, you're right, Naruto, that's why I chose him. However, other than that, and as she was talking, Guy came in as well. And after after they re-explained everything to him, about Naruto and Sasuke and all that stuff, and Itachi and all of that, Guy, he calmed down. And he was like, well, you're looking very youthful today, Naruto-kun. And Naruto was like, I'm sorry, Guy, but I don't swing that way. And Guy's face went red in embarrassment, and he was like, no, no, Naruto-kun, that's not what I meant. How could you think so unyouthfully? You only seem to be exploding with youth. And Naruto and everyone else cringed when they thought about the meaning of exploding with youth. And Tsunade was like, whatever, Guy. Anyways, we 4 are going to test Naruto, Sasuke, and my student Sakura. And I believe Karine can join as well because she has also been missing for the past 3 years. And she gave like a pointed glare at Karine, who just flinched, and uh, she was like, "Anyways, we start at dusk, and you have till sunrise to defeat us." And Naruto was like, "Till sunrise, but then that's when we have our next mission." And Tsunade was like, "So what's the issue?" And Naruto was like, "When are we supposed to get to sleep?" And Tsunade was like, "That's your punishment for being outside the village for so long." Naruto just uh, uh, cried some anime tears, and he got over it. And afterwards, they all went to the training grounds and got ready to um pummel Kakashi, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Guy. So Naruto looked at everyone and he was like, "So how do you want to do this?" Sakura said that she was going to take Tsunade because she was Tsunade's apprentice, so it's only fair for her to judge herself against her master. And Sasuke said that he'd go against Kakashi because Kakashi was the one who taught him the most. And Naruto said that he would go against Jiraiya because again he's closest with Jiraiya. And Karine said she'll go against Guy because Guy was her sensei, and even though his training methods were a bit questionable, you couldn't argue with the results. So she learned a lot from Guy, and she wanted to challenge him. So before they started, Tsunade was like, "And Guy, a warning for you. You're not to go past the fourth gate." And Guy was like, "But why? I want to show these young shinobi how youthful I am." And Tsunade just smacked her head and she was like, "Well, we don't want you to end up in the hospital, Guy." And Guy was like, "Alright," and then he just hung his head. And basically, they all got ready, and they started. So I'm going to cover each of these fights individually. So first we'll see Karine versus Guy. So a guy starts off in a flurry of taijutsu attacks. And by the way, guys, Tsunade gave them the condition before that uh, no sealing jutsu was allowed because that would kind of be a one-shot kill kind of thing. She wants to see how they improved in taijutsu and ninjutsu, and if they had any genjutsu. So they all agreed. And so Karin and Guy decide like they were going at it in taijutsu. And like Guy tried to do a leaf hurricane, but Karin just ducked. And she caught a Guy's free leg and threw him onto the ground. But then Guy just backflipped, and he was able to keep his balance. And uh, Karin just blitzed Guy. And even though Guy is really fast, he wasn't expecting this. He had his weights off, but then this is really fast. And like right as he was about to land from his backflip, Karin started. So he didn't really have time to dodge. So he brought his arms up in X shape in front of him as Karin gave a strong side kick. And Karin actually knew Tsunade's a trick to increasing the strength of punches and kicks. So Guy, even though he brought his arms up, he was sent flying, and his arms were feeling numb. So he was like, "I guess I shouldn't be blocking one of her attacks again." And he opened the first gate and the second gate. And he blitzed Karin. And he wrapped his bandages around her, like the bandages that Lee has. And he basically held her upside down. And like after kicking her into the air. And he started spinning, and he was like, "Front lotus," and he smashed Karin's head onto the ground. But then it was only met with a log substitution. And he was like, "Where did she go?" And she was like, "Right behind you." And she was like, "Wind style, wind palms." And Basically her hands were enveloped in wind chakra, and she used it to punch Guy, and the attack was a lot stronger and sharper. So Guy was sent flying, and um, Karine was like, I guess that's not going to cut it. And she was like, wind style, wind chakra scalpels. And she enveloped her hands in wind chakra, but she basically made two wind blades out of them. And a guy looked at her hands fearfully, and he was like, alright, then I guess I'm gonna have to open the other two as well. And he was like, gate of life, gate of pain, open. And both of those opened, and he blitzed Karine, and she wasn't expecting it this time. And she took the full force of the attack of the kick while she was bringing her arms in the cross position. And she went back, and she kind of felt the effect of the super strength kick. And she kind of like fell on the ground, and as she got up, a guy punched her again, but then this time she turned into a lightning clone, and she shocked a guy. And and afterwards, like while Guy was getting shocked, she came from under the ground, and she sent a kick straight to his head, and it was a really strong kick as well. So Guy got knocked out, and Tsunade and basically Karin was the winner. So now after that, I'm going to go to Sakura versus Scenari, and this is the only fight where the student loses, because we all know that Sakura isn't that great. She's basically just Tsunade with less chakra. So basically they kind of do the same attacks until Sakura tires out and Tsunade is able to land the winning blow. So and Sakura also didn't develop the 100 healings jutsu yet, so she was like leagues below Tsunade, um, and she lost, but she was okay with it. And then now we move on to Sasuke versus Kakashi. So first they were in a flurry of taijutsu punches and kicks, and basically they were on an even footing pretty much. Sasuke was like the same level as Kakashi, and then an idea struck him. So when Kakashi punched him again, he let the punch connect, but then he grabbed Kakashi's fist and he held it there, and he was like, lightning style, Chidori stream. And Kakashi got was about to get electrocuted, but then his hand was enveloped in lightning, and he basically channeled all the lightning chakra there. So it didn't really damage him that much. But then when he deactivated his Chidori, he noticed that his flesh was kind of burned out over there, and he was like, "That's a pretty impressive technique, Sasuke." And Sasuke was like, "Thank you, Kakashi." And Kakashi was like, "No, sensei." And Sasuke just laughed, and he was like, "All right, Kakashi sensei, happy?" And Kakashi just eye smiled, and he charged again, his Sharingan blazing, and he tried to put a Genjutsu on Sasuke, but Sasuke immediately recognized this, and he used his Sharingan to break out of it. And basically at this point, Sasuke called out to Tsunade, and he was like, "Is it alright if I use my Mangekyo Sharingan?" And Tsunade was like, "No, Sasuke, that's not the purpose of this fight." And Sasuke was like, "Why not?" And Tsunade was like, "Mangekyo Sharingan techniques are one-shot kills, so it's better to have a drawn-out fight where I can actually judge your abilities in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu." And Sasuke just grumbled, and he was like, "Alright then." So he basically shot through a few hand signs, and he was like, "Lightning style, lightning dragon." And a dragon of lightning basically coiled around Sasuke, and it shot towards Kakashi, and Kakashi basically sliced it with a Raikiri, and he was like, "Not bad, Sasuke. Check this out." And he wove through a few hand signs, and he was like, lightning style, lightning hounds, and three hounds of lightning started chasing after Sasuke, but Sasuke was able to neutralize them by using a Chidori stream, and the fight continued. And Sasuke wove through another few hand signs, and he was like, "Fire style, majestic destroyer flame," and he shot out a huge plume of fire that just like Madara's during the war, and Kakashi was like, "Holy fuck!" and he basically was like, "Water style, water wall," and he tried to block the fire, but then the fire easily vaporized the water wall, and Kakashi was left defenseless, and he was like, "Shit!" At the last moment, he enveloped himself in water chakra, but then that was still too weak for the flames, but it still did neutralize them to a certain degree. But Kakashi was still really injured by that, so Sasuke won that fight, and um, Sasuke was like, Kakashi Sensei, if you just went underground, you could have avoided that. And Kakashi just smacked his head at the stupidity, thinking that a mere water wall can block a fire style jutsu of such caliber. So, anyways, now we move on to the fight between Naruto and Jiraiya. And right before the fight starts, Naruto asks Tsunade, Grandma Tsunade, can I use my adamantine chains? And Tsunade was like, no, Naruto. And Naruto just nodded, and Jiraiya was like, alright then, kid, come on, let's start this. And Naruto and Jiraiya charge at each other, and they're almost evenly matched in taijutsu, but Naruto is gaining the upper hand, and Jiraiya was like, "How are you doing that?" And Naruto was like, "You don't think I've been training for these 3 years?" And Jiraiya was like, "But that's impossible. I'm using the perfect Toad Fist." And Naruto was like, "Well, I guess the Dragon Fist is better." And Jiraiya was like, "What?" And he basically took a step back, and he was like, "Alright, kid, let's make this interesting. Summoning Jutsu." And he summoned Gamabunta, and Naruto was like, "Alright then, summoning Jutsu." And he summoned the elemental dragon, which is the boss dragon. So basically, the boss dragon had all elemental, like all chakra natures, and after that were five dragons, each of which had one chakra nature. So the elemental one had all five, and Jiraiya was like, "Holy fuck, what is that?" And Naruto was like, "Well, this is a dragon, Jiraiya Sensei." And Jiraiya was like, "You haven't called me that in a long time." And Naruto was like, "Well, let's see until you do something pervy." And Jiraiya just grew a tick mark, and he was like, "All right, let's show him the power of toads, Gamabunta." And Gamabunta was actually kind of shivering in fear, seeing that the dragon was larger than the Nine Tails, and he was like, "You seriously think we can take that thing on?" And Jiraiya was like, "Don't give out now, Gamabunta. Come on, let's do our collaboration ninjutsu." And Gamabunta was like, "Alright then, Jiraiya, you got the oil?" And Jiraiya was like, "Yeah." "Do you have the fire?" And Gamabunta was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Collaboration ninjutsu, toad oil bombs." And basically, they shot out, balls of fire, like toad oil burning on fire, pretty much. And they're pretty huge, and they're about to attack the dragon, and Naruto is like, "Alright then, Ryujin." And by the way, Ryujin is the name of the dragon, so he was like, "Alright then, Ryujin, let's show him our collaboration ninjutsu." And Ryujin was like, "Haha, you bet." And Ryujin was like, "Water style, exploding water shockwave." And Naruto was like, "Wind style, glacial gusts." And they both took a deep breath and shot their collaboration ninjutsu out. And they're like, "Collaboration ninjutsu, blizzard." and a huge wave of ice basically came out of like their mouths, and Jiraiya was like, "What the fuck? What is this kid?" And he basically he basically started running away while Naruto was using the ice like Frozone from Incredibles, if you know what I'm saying. So Naruto was way faster, and he managed to pin Jiraiya while the icicles pinned Gamabunta, and he wasn't able to break out because they're like piercing his shoulders. And Gamabunta was like, "Alright, Jiraiya, I can't continue any further." And Jiraiya was like, "Alright then." And he basically got out of Naruto's pin, and Gamabunta and Ryujin both disappeared, and Jiraiya jumped back, taking a few deep breaths, and he went into Sage mode. And guys, Jiraiya hasn't been slacking off these 3 years because he didn't have to worry about training Naruto, so he actually decided to train himself, and he trained in Toad Sage mode. So he went into Sage mode, and he was like, "Alright then, kid, this is my trump card." And Naruto was like, "So you have that too?" And Jiraiya was like, "What? What do you mean I have that too?" And Naruto went into Dragon Sage mode. And now we have a bit of a flashback, and we see Naruto being trained by the dragons who are the Uzumaki clan summoning contracts, and basically they're like, "All right, kid, we deem you worthy." And Naruto was like, "Thank you, I guess." And uh, the dragons were like, "You didn't let me." The Basically Ryujin was talking to him, so he was like, "You didn't let me finish." And Naruto's like, "Well, what do you want to say then?" And Ryujin just chuckled, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to teach you something really special. No other Uzumaki has ever learned this." And Naruto was like, "What are you talking about?" And Ryujin was like, "I'm going to teach you Dragon Sage mode." Naruto's eyes widened because he has read a lot about Senjutsu, and he knows there will be a huge buff. And Ryujin saw Naruto's happy expression, and he was like, "All right then, so you want to get started on our training?" And Naruto was like, "Sure. When do we start?" And Ryujin was like, "Of course, right now." And Naruto smiled, and he was like, "So what exactly does this training entail?" And Ryujin was like, "How about I show you?" And he signaled for Naruto to get on his back, and he started flying to a volcano. So Naruto was like, "Exactly what will we be doing here?" And Ryujin was like, "Well, your aim is to sit in that volcano, and you have to be so still that you become one with nature, and nature energy flows within you." And Naruto was like, "Let me get this straight. I have to sit in the middle of all that magma." And the dragon was like, "This is the only way, and don't worry. If you don't hesitate, and if you have no fear, the magma will not harm you." And Naruto was like, "What makes you say that?" And basically the Ryujin was like, "That magma is special. It's produced by us dragons. Us dragons despise cowardice the most out of all human vices. This is why our senjutsu training involves letting go of fear, and putting yourself in a dangerous situation." And Naruto was like, "So if I have fear, this lava will burn me, but if I don't, it will be harmless. Is that right?" And the dragon was like, "Of course it is. And don't even think about using chakra to protect yourself. The massive amount of nature energy contained within the magma will easily suppress your chakra and burn you." And Naruto, he gulped, and the dragon was like, "Is that fear I sense?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I got this far, so I might as well do it." And Naruto basically, being the reckless person he is, he jumped head first into the lava, and he maintained like you know, an Indian sitting position, you know, crisscross, like how we see in him do, like how we see him sit in the anime. So Ryujin was like, I'm impressed. No human we ever attempted to teach had done that on their first try. I guess this means that Naruto is the right choice for our senjutsu. And he was just thinking this, and inside the magma, Naruto was basically meditating, and the dragon was like, Are you wobbling, Naruto?" And Naruto was basically like swishing around in the magma, and then he was like, "Yeah, how do I get it to stop? How do I stay still?" And the dragon was like, "You have to become one with nature. You have to stay as still as possible. Only then the magma will stop flowing, and you'll be able to stay still inside." And Naruto was like, "This is harder than it looked," and and the dragon was like, "Well, I never said it was easy." And Naruto was like, "Neither did I, but then it is still pretty difficult to do." And the dragon just mentally cringed, and he was like, "Anyways, I'll check on your progress tomorrow." And Naruto was like, "What? Tomorrow? What am I supposed to do till then?" And the dragon was like, "Well, you just have to practice." And Naruto was like, "How do I get out of here?" And the dragon was like, "You don't. I come and take you out of it tomorrow." And Naruto was like, "What about food?" And the dragon was like, "I'm sure you'll be able to stay without food for a night." And Naruto was like, curse you, Ryujin!" And Ryujin just laughed, and he left. And Naruto was like, "Anyways, I have time till tomorrow. Might as well try." So he basically slowed down his breathing as much as possible, and he tried to sit as still as possible. And then tomorrow, and the next day, the dragon couldn't even sense any ripples in the lava and the magma, and he was like, "So, looks like you figured it out." And Naruto didn't respond, and the dragon was like, "Naruto, what happened? Where are you?" And he was like, "Oh no, did he die?" And he basically went headfirst into the lava, and he saw Naruto at the bottom, and Naruto was like fallen asleep, and the dragon was like, "Oh, Naruto, you idiot!" And he slammed Naruto with his tail, and Naruto suddenly got up, and he was like, and the dragon was like, "Stop your blabbering!" And Naruto, he was like, "Well, what am I doing here?" And then the dragon was like, "You're learning senjutsu." And Naruto was like, "Oh right. Anyways, I'm able to sit still now." And the dragon was like, "All right then, let me see it." And basically Naruto sat still, and the dragon made ripples in the lava, aiming them at Naruto, but then they all fizzled out even before they hit Naruto, and Naruto was completely still. And the dragon was like, "You're truly one of a kind, Naruto." And Naruto just smiled, and he was like, "All right then." The dragon was like, "All right then. I guess you're ready to start absorbing nature energy. Absorb it straight from the magma here." And Naruto was like, "Why can't I do it outside the magma?" And the dragon was like, "First you have to try to gather the nature energy from the magma itself, since it's produced by us dragons who use nature energy." And Naruto was like, "Why is that?" And the dragon was like, "It's much easier to get it from the magma than from the actual environment. So it's better if you first train by practicing um, uh, absorbing the nature energy from the magma, and then afterwards you try it from the environment itself." And Naruto nodded at the dragon's logic, and now we time skip to a week later when Naruto finally has Dragon Sage mode mastered, and and the dragon was like, "All right, now we're going to train you in the abilities that your Sage mode gives you." And Naruto's like, "What are my abilities?" And the dragon was like, "First are the obvious ones: increased strength, increased stamina, increased pain tolerance, increased regeneration, and increase in the power of your ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu, and even your fuinjutsu. And Naruto was like, hmm. Other than that, is there anything else? And the dragon was like, well, there are a few things that are specific to only our dragon sage mode. The user can grow wings on their back like a dragon and fly, and the user also has the unique ability of being able to transform into an entire dragon. And Naruto was like, really, that's so cool. And the dragon was like, in time we will start training in that. However, since we are allies of both toads and snakes, we have the secrets of their senjutsu as well. That's why in our senjutsu we also incorporate the toad style of using nature energy to enhance the taijutsu. Naruto's like, what do you mean by that? And the dragon was like, well, if you try to punch someone and you miss, then the nature energy around you can be manipulated into another fist and punch the person who dodged. And Naruto was like, that's such an amazing ability. And the dragon was like, yes, but the only problem with it is that it can only be used in close proximity. However, the snake's sage ability, it is a long range ability. It uses the nature energy within the environment and connect, and the user of the sage mode can connect to the dispersed nature energy and manipulate their environment. This is called inorganic reanimation. Naruto was like, that's so amazing. When do we get started learning that? And the dragon was like, as I always say, right now. And Naruto learned all of these abilities, and now we go back to the fight between Naruto and Jiraiya. And Naruto basically opens his eyes after going into Sage mode, and he has two horns on his head like a dragon, and he has sharp teeth, and the snout is kind of reptilian, and his nose and mouth area, it kind of becomes a bit reptilian, like his nose flattened out a little bit, and his mouth was a little elongated, and his eyes were had slitted pupils like a snake or a dragon. And Jiraiya was like, you learned snake sage mode? And Naruto's like, no, but close. And Jiraiya was like, don't tell me that the dragons. And Naruto was like, yes, this is dragon sage mode. And he jumped up in the air, and without any hand signs he was like, sage art, fire style, dance of the dragon and fox. And a flame version of both Kurama and Ryujin appeared next to Naruto. And Jiraiya was like, no fucking way. And he started running away to gain some distance. And the dragon and the fox, they chased right after him, and the dragon enveloped him, like basically coiled itself around Jiraiya. And the fox, it slammed its fist into Jiraiya, and this completely burned Jiraiya. But since Jiraiya was in sage mode, he was able to heal from it. And then Jiraiya was like, summoning jutsu, mouth of the stone toad. I mean, I don't really know what that jutsu is called, guys. But then you know that jutsu where the surroundings become completely pink, like the digestive tract of a toad. So it's basically that jutsu. And then basically the toad insides are able to suppress the fire jutsu. And Naruto's like, well, not bad, pervy sage. And Jiraiya grew a tick mark, and he's like, stop calling me that. Naruto's like, never gets old. Anyways, Naruto was like, so, the Pervy says, do you think that's the only trick I learned? And Jiraiya was like, he basically got ready for another attack, and Naruto transformed himself into a dragon, and Jiraiya was like, what are you? And Naruto was like, a master of dragon sage mode, in like a deep dragon voice. And Jiraiya was completely scared, and Naruto flapped his dragon wings, and he blew out uh, like huge bolts of black lightning out of his mouth. And he destroyed the toad mouth, and Jiraiya was basically blown back into a crater, and he was completely knocked out. And Tsunade was like, "I guess Naruto's the winner. I never knew Naruto was that powerful." And Naruto just chuckled and he turned back into his human form, and he was like, "Well, I guess I win then." And Tsunade was like, "You sure do. So now get ready for your next mission tomorrow in the morning." And Naruto was like, "Good, we have some time to sleep then." And by the way, these matches all happened in different areas in the forest when the people were trying to escape. Like basically, all the Jonin and Tsunade escaped while Naruto and the others were making a plan on who should take who. So of course, the fights are happening separately. So yeah. They're able to take them in only like half an hour. So Naruto and the others had plenty of time to rest and sleep. So they got ready for the mission that was that they had to do at dawn. So that's where I'll be leaving it off for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and share my videos with as many people as possible. So give me some comments on your opinions about this video, your any ideas you have for future parts, and your ideas for future what ifs I do on this channel, and subscribe. So thanks for watching, guys.